Well, hello everyone, and let's get this party starting. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a lovely Thursday afternoon. It might be an evening to where you're watching, but welcome to this live stream. My name is Matonizz, also known as Matonizz, and today we're going to be doing, upon popular request, a little practice session on one and only Carnival of Venice by Arban. So let's just wait a couple minutes for more people to tune into this. Please give me a thumbs up in the chat room if the audio quality is fine so far. Last time we played this, the metronome source was really annoying because I forgot to switch one of the sources, and one of them was coming through the microphone and the other one was coming directly from computer, so it was pretty loud. Today we're eliminating that error, okay? So let me do that by muting the desktop audio right now. So I'm really pumped about this piece. It's always a crowd favorite. I've been checking this out for a couple of days now. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly review what I've been doing on this particular piece last couple of days in my practice session. And I'm going to explain the process of why I'm starting, where I'm starting, why the tempos, what I'm using, what I'm focusing on, and etc. And we're gonna try and get through as many variations as possible. I'm probably gonna be streaming this for around hour or something like that, and leave 10 or 15 minutes for questions and answers. If you have any, please leave them in the chat room. Preferably put I'm getting some thumbs up, that's awesome. Please leave a question mark at the end so it'll be easier for me to track those questions. And that being said, let's dig into the Carnival of Venice. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, we've got both bass and treble clef. Let's just quickly review theme, variations, so on. We're going to start with the last variation. We're going to work backwards because that's where all the hard stuff is happening. And as you can see, the page that I'm about to open has two variations crammed into one page. Right. No, not this one. Bingo. right, this one right here. So you can see a bass clef on the left and then treble clef on the right. The reason why I cramped everything into one page is because I've been practicing this piece for a couple of days now. Now, originally the first day that I started this practicing these variations, the variation 3 and 4, I both started at 100 beats per minute per eighth note. Okay, so that was a comfortable starting tempo to where I felt that the clarity and consistency was a good at a good level for a starting tempo. And I was increasing by 5 clicks per minute, 5 beats by 5 clicks per eighth note. That's the right one. 5 clicks per eighth note with every single attempt that I was doing. And I managed to get to around 140 beats per minute or something like that within first session. Then the next session, I managed to get both variations up until 160 beats per minute, which is probably the tempo that I would prefer to perform this piece at. And the following sessions, I was trying to increase the intervals of each single repeat that I'm doing in order to save time and make sure I'm progressing. So instead of doing 100, 105, 110, 115, I was doing 100, 106, 112. Then yesterday I was doing 100, 107, 114, 121. And today the logical conclusion would be to do 108, 108, 116, and so on. That way I make sure that I consistently spend less at this piece while I'm getting better. I'm getting to the stage where I can perform this instantaneously at the concert to where I don't need to build up the tempo. Now, the reason why I cramped in these variations is because last couple of days I started practicing these together consecutively just because they're kind of similar tempo. So that's the way I'm going to approach it, since this is a live practice session. So I'm going to show you more or less what I would do in my normal practice environment. Now, I made a couple of notes on these particular two movements and variations that I need to pay attention before I even start practicing them. Something to keep in mind of. Now, what I'm going to be doing is making sure that whenever I start, I'm really being solid and firm with my fingers, as solid and firm as possible. I want to make sure that the coordination between my fingers and this thing right here is rock solid. Okay, so I'm going to be over exaggerating the motion of my fingers. You could probably even hear, you'll be able to hear it in my valves. Now, another thing that another note that I left is making sure that the fourth valve does not get lazy. Now, the fourth valve is not being used all that often in these variations, a little bit more often inside the fourth variation. But that being said, whenever I was in need to use it, I found that I was consistently being a little lazy with it, and it was never in the right position. So today, before I even start, I'm gonna read these notes, and that's something I recommend everyone else do. Each time you practice and observe and make some sort of a notice in terms of what helped you or what you should be paying attention, don't just leave it in your head. You are likely to forget that and waste a bunch of time next session. So just write it down. So that's the way I prefer doing it. Okay, so that being said, we're going to start at 100 beats per minute. And then we're going to go to 108, 116, and hopefully we can build this up to a pretty substantial tempo. And then later on, I'm going to start adding the melodies. So let's start with that. Of course, I've got my pencil ready. I've got my grapefruit flavor water ready. And let's give this a shot. Okay, so there was one particular chip at the bar. Let me find that. I'm using slightly different scores. I believe it was around, yep, around here, somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to repeat that one more time to make sure that chip does not happen. Okay, so I'm always looking for perfect quality, perfect articulation. I'm looking for every single note being clear and being not only clear in articulation but pitch. So let's give this one more try and then let's go to variation 4. Okay, so a couple of errors there as well. So I want to make sure that that does not happen at this speed before I move into the follow-up step up in terms of the metronome. So I'm going to repeat that one more time and make sure that that two little errors that happened, one towards the end, that was with finger coordination, and another one in the middle with tongue coordination, does not happen again. So let's give this one more shot. Okay, so that was way more precise. So normally whenever I practice, I make sure that these mistakes, if I make one, I stop or I repeat. If in this occasion I carry on, but I repeat and I do not increase the tempo before I can get everything with perfect precision, perfect clarity. Okay, so let's put it at 108 beats per minute. That was the plan for today. And again, this is the approach I would probably take. Not probably, I would take in my daily practice session whenever I'm trying to learn this piece. So the amount of clicks you're increasing per interval will depend on your starting point and how far you want to get and how much time you have. But in this case, we had a progress between 105, 106, 107, and this time is going to be 108 for the second attempt. So let's go back to variation 3, and then we're going to carry on to variation 4 at the same speed, 108 clicks per minute per eighth note. Okay, let's give this a shot. Okay, so hopefully you could hear that actually the comfort level and precision is sounding way, way better at this second time. And this is what you're supposed to be expecting in your practice session on daily basis. So normally start a tempo that you can play everything with clarity and decent comfort. And with every single repetition, you'll notice that even if you're going faster, the sound quality, the articulation quality, the finger coordination is getting more and more comfortable. And the more you drill that for 2, 3, 4 weeks, month, 2 months, and then later on you go to the stage. But that's the daily grind you're supposed to be embracing. Okay, let's go to the next variation, which is the variation 4. Okay, and since I'm trying to replicate as a natural practice environment as possible, I'll be honest, this take I would not be 100% comfortable with, so I would normally repeat that. So we're gonna do just that. We're gonna repeat that one more time. There was one little glitch in the middle. It wasn't like a bad one, but I normally strive for as perfect take as I can get within that one attempt that I do it, and I repeat it within that speed for as long as it takes to get it with precise clarity and articulation. Okay, one more try. Okay, and this definitely qualifies as a quality take. So we're gonna go back to third movement and then to fourth, and this time we're playing that at 116 beats per minute. That's my increment, 8 clicks, and let's give this a shot one more time at variation free. Again, I'm looking for quality, precision, quality in articulation, quality in tone, quality in finger, so I'm gonna be making sure that every single finger is moving perfectly, and nothing else less than that would satisfy me and would qualify as a valid take or valid attempt. Okay, so let's give this a try. So definitely a good take. I'm very happy with this one. And again, you should probably be hearing that the consistency and the comfort levels are getting more, they're getting better with every single attempt. So the more repetition you put in, repetitions build tempo gradually, slowly. Again, I'm using 8 beats per minute, the intervals. It might be different for you, but take the approach rather than try to imitate the exact speeds, okay? So let's go to variation 4 and 116 beats per minute. Let's give this a shot. Okay, a valid take. Okay, so it's very good. We move on to the next speed increment, which is going to be another 8 beats, 124 for both third and fourth movements. Now, another thing that I'm paying attention that I should probably write down, and I'm going to write down as well, is that these articulated notes right here, I'm making sure that I'm articulating this very precisely. So the tongue has to be crisp, clear, and fast. Otherwise, the consecutive double tongue, the following double tongue sequence is not going to be up to speed and up to clarity and up to smoothness. So make sure that instead of focusing on these super fast singular type of notes where it's on one pitch, focus on really crisp, clear, fast tongue on these. Or if you're looking at treble clap right here. Okay, let's go back to variation number 3, and we're gonna play this at 124 beats per minute. We're getting closer to our desired speed. So again, the increments are larger than maybe you should start at, but again, this is my 4th day of practice, so I want to make sure that I'm getting to my desired speed faster and with more quality every single time I attempt practicing this. Okay. Again, clarity, consistency, articulation, precision, tonguing, all the good stuff. Let's give this a shot. Okay, so this was almost of a standard. I would be happy to moving on. Maybe just that last little run was not as coordinated and precise as I would like it to be. Normally, again, I would do that one more time, but just because I want to make sure we move on to next variations, I'm going to move on to variation 4. But other than that, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, I made a note that my 4th valve gets a little sloppy sometimes, and you could see it on that concert C or treble D, that da 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 blah blah. I had a little. It wasn't like a chip, but it was not as precise and coordinated and clear as I would like it to be. So normally I would repeat this section one more time to make sure that everything is precise, clear, and well articulated. That being said, let's move on to 4th variation at 124 beats per minute. Also, just a quick disclaimer, last couple of days, my valve, I think it's because of the warmer weather in Pittsburgh, the first valve has been a little sticky, so expect me at some point to use some valve oil to make sure we're always in good smooth motion with our fingers. I just wanted to give you a quick heads up that at some point I might just pull out my valve oil and use it for a couple of minutes. That being said, let's go back to variation 4. Okay, so that was valid take. Again, there's one bar that I think I cannot even remember is fifth or sixth bar, something like that, where I think the clarity could be better. But this would fit my quality standards. Always have some sort of a quality standard to where you should be heading in terms of every single repeat. There's a quality standard for your practice session and quality standard for your performance as well. So in my practice session, I'm always striving. I'm okay to stop and redo it again to make sure I get the desired quality, and that's something I would recommend to every single one of you. Strive for for perfection and the best quality to your abilities within practice session, and hopefully that makes sense. Okay, that being said, let's ramp this up another 8 clicks and let's go to 134 beats per minute. Go back to third variation. Also, I'm noticing that my first valve is being a little bit annoying, so actually I'm going to use this quick little minute for a break as well as oil my first valve. Just a quick one. Bear with me for a second. Oh yeah, let's go. And I don't mind this at all, okay? Let's go to variation number 4. I felt that the consistency clarity was pretty good. It's time to move on to variation 4. Same tempo, 132 beats per minute. Okay, so this one would be borderline repeatable. I did not chip any notes, or at least not to the point where it felt really off. But some of the stuff did not feel as light and as comfortable as I would like it to be. So normally I would seriously consider repeating this particular tempo. And one quick thing worth noticing: the faster you go, it's very important with these bottom notes that you don't start to over articulate these. The harder you tongue, the longer the range of motion for your tongue becomes, and the slower it actually becomes. So you work harder, but it becomes slower, and it's hard to develop that consistency in that dun 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 dun. The melody that you're looking for. So make sure you're not over articulated. And it's marked mezzo forte. I would interpret that as comfortable volume, comfortable dynamics. That being said, let's ramp it up to 140 beats per minute, and let's go back to variation free. Okay, so that was a pretty good take. I don't mind that at all. There is one spot where, again, the fingers could be a little bit more coordinated. I don't know whether you could hear it, but it was right around this. Yeah, I think it was this passage right here. Either this one or that one. But at this time, you should probably be hearing that, hey, that consistency and the comfort levels are getting better, even though the tempo is increasing with every single attempt. That's the importance of repetition. That's how I would normally approach it. A lot of grind. I know it's not the most thrilling thing in the world, but you notice how I started with pretty slow tempo. It took me a couple of attempts to get that with quality required, and this time I'm blazing through stuff faster, better quality, more comfort, sounding a little bit lighter, and that's a result of constant repetition, over and over again. Let's go 4 at 140 beats per minute. Okay, so I'll take that. I'll take that. I don't mind that at all. Okay, so we'll increase the tempo to 148 beats per minute, and we're getting much closer to our desired tempo. Now, with variation free, it has a melody before that, so I guess 160 would be a little bit of overkill in terms of maintaining the style that is in the movement-free starting melody, opening melody. But for this time, let's just practice with fingers coordination, and let's get this up to tempo. And the desired tempo for today, by the way, it's 160, and we'll see if I can beat that. Yesterday I stopped at 160, so maybe today I can get a little bit faster, even though I would not necessarily perform any faster than 160 becomes. It's at some point it will just becomes like a fast exercise rather than a piece, and we want to make there's that clear melody and style, light style, which remains throughout both third and fourth variations. Okay, 148 beats per minute, and let's go. Okay, that was pretty solid. I didn't mind that at all. Let's go to a fourth variation, 148 beats per minute. And just before I go that, I'll be going to questions and answers in a little bit. But that being said, if you're watching this video live, don't forget to give this video if you're watching this video live, don't forget to give this video a like, share it with your friends. If you want any questions answered, leave them at the chat box, or if you're not watching them live, leave them in the comment section later on once you're re-watching this video, once it's uploaded on YouTube. Okay, let's give this a shot at 148 beats per minute. Okay. Okay, that was fine. I didn't mind that at all. We're gonna go to 156 beats per minute, and this is getting very close to the desired tempo for today. And again, this is a live practice session, so I do understand why it might. I hopefully this is not necessarily the entertainment video. This is dedicated a little bit more towards making sure that you get a glimpse at my practice session. So I highly encourage you, if you're watching this live right now, later on once uploaded, go back to the very beginning if you haven't saw. So the very first take that I played at 100 beats per minute was not very comfortable. It did not sound as good and as quality as I would like it to be. And that's what I'm normally trying to do with these live practice sessions. You get to see how I would normally approach practicing on every single day on daily basis before we get into the stage. So you get to see how much notes I miss, how much attempts it takes me, and how I normally engage in a daily grind. So let's give this a shot at 156 beats per minute. Okay. Okay, I'll take that. Let's go to variation 4. Okay, I did not mind that either. Okay, so normally the tempo that I would aim here is 160 beats per minute, but this time, since I'm increasing 8 clicks per minute, let's give it a try at 164 beats per minute. Yesterday I stopped at 160 beats per minute, so we'll see if I can beat that today. So this is getting a little faster on the edge, but hey, why not? Let's give it a shot and see how fast we can take it down. Again, I would probably I would not be performing either variation that fast, just because at some point I think the speed it just does not make justice. I think once you lose that style and lightness, it becomes just the speed that sounds a little bit more ridiculous than impressive. So but at this point we're practicing, so we're trying to squeeze out as much as we can get from our speed, coordination, precision, and all the good stuff. So let's give it a shot at 164 beats per minute. Okay, so it wasn't bad, but that the section which goes to right here, the section right here, this is where it was starting to get a little bluffy. So you know what, let's give this one more shot at 164 beats per minute, and we'll definitely go no faster than that, but why not? Let's see if I can get a little bit more clarity. Just getting a little on the edge of the tempo. Okay, 164 beats per minute. Here we go. Okay, that's a tiny bit better. But at this point, again, I don't think I would be going any faster than that. And again, for those who did not tune in to the very beginning of the stream, highly encourage. Look, you don't get to see a lot of professional players giving you an insight to this piece. It's not a prepared piece. You can hear I'm practicing. Listen to the very beginning. The first take was not great. Did not feel coordinated. Did not. The articulation wasn't great. Took me a couple of tries before I was satisfied with the take. That's how my daily practice looks. I grind it over and over and over again. How much time does it take for me to prepare the full piece? It depends on how much I have. If I have 10 days, my every single day would look like this. Okay, if I have a month, good for me. I'll be able to get more precision, more quality, more comfort every single day I do is. But this is going to be the key: repetition, over and over again, making sure you know what to pay attention to. In this case, I'm paying attention to my finger motion, that it's firm, solid, that my tongue is being precise and clear. Okay. 164 beats per minute. Again, the goal was 160 for variation 4. That's where I plateaued yesterday, but 164 beats per minute. Let's see what we can squeeze out. Okay, let's give it a shot. It's getting a little faster, but hey, that's why we're practicing. Okay, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. I feel like I've got a couple more clicks for increment there, but again, I don't feel that would do much justice in here. It's I'd rather move on to the next movement, and I'm noticing that I'm getting close to an hour, so soon I will be going towards questions and answers. Again, I didn't go through every single movement, but the goal of these streams, if you want to see a well-rehearsed performance or see educational videos, go to YouTube and check my videos that are educational playlists, and Mondays you would probably see a well-recorded, rehearsed piece. This session is to show you exclusively how I would approach my practice and how much grind I can squeeze out from one session, and how much quality can I squeeze out, and how much playing I would do. Normally I would go a little faster for these just because I wouldn't be doing talking, but these are repetitions that I would be doing. So let's just have a glimpse at another movement. Now I'll probably do another session, another live stream next week on this piece to make sure we touch on the remainder of variations. I don't know whether that's something you'd be interested in, but if you would, leave a comment in the chat and let me know what you'd like to hear. So that being said, let's go to the follow-up page. Now I was planning to do some triple tonguing in the variation, but that will take quite a bit of time to build up the fast and crisp tempo. So just because we're becoming a little short on time, let's move on to the variation number 1, which is right here. And what I'm gonna do this time is I would normally do 8 click increments, but just to save time, I want to see if I can build this up from 100 to 110 beats per minute in 10 click increments, just because we're trying to save a little bit of time. Again, the variation 1 starts with 16th note patterns and then goes to 32nd note patterns. I don't feel like I need to rehearse the very beginning every single time, so I'm going to do it every other time, and I'm going to make sure that these double-tongued patterns and everything that goes after is being rehearsed every single time. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, again, leave a question in the chat box. I'll make sure to answer that. Let's start at 100 beats per minute and see where we at with this one. Okay, so as you can see, the very first attempt wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. At least for my, I'm just being honest, for my standards, I would not treat that as great, okay? So normally I would do smaller increments on this one, 105, 105 or 6, 7, 8 beat increments. But this time, again, we're trying to save a little bit of time. Let's ramp it up. Let's ramp it up and see where we're getting, just for fun. And something to keep in mind, okay? So whenever we're playing these triplets, it is very, very important to make sure that the follow-up note is not slurred. That's a mistake you'll probably see or hear players do often. Another thing that I catch myself doing constantly is in this case, I was paying attention to counting whenever I'm trilling to make sure I'm not late for that double tongue pattern. But I think I was one beat late for this pattern right here, or if you're watching, looking at treble clef right here. So making sure that even though I'm trilling pretty fast, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the same thing here. 1, 2, rest, rest. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so let's give this a shot at 115 beats per minute. I'm going to move to questions very soon, but let's see if I can ramp this up to 116. I'll try and skip quite a few takes. Again, not something I would do in my daily practice, but this is going towards the end of the stream, so I just want to make sure that we have a little bit of fun with this as well. Okay, let's put it at 115 beats per minute. 115? Okay, let's give this a shot. Okay, my valve needs to be oiled again, but let's save some time. Let's skip to 130 beats per minute, and let's just go to the second bit, and then we're gonna go 145, and we'll try and play the full variation. You know what? Let me just quickly oil this valve. It's starting to really annoy me. Alrighty, let's go. Okay, so I'm not being very satisfied with clarity and consistency with articulation and all the pitches. So again, probably not a good idea to take this approach where you're skipping your increments. And you could probably see it right here. As soon as I start skipping to every other one, I don't put in as many repetitions and I'm just jumping too fast. So at this point, I think it's being counterproductive. But I would build this movement up in a similar fashion like I did the previous one. Again, if you tuned in later, I would highly encourage you to go back from the very beginning. You'll get to see that the first take kind of sucked a little bit. Let's be real here. But in the practice session, that's what you should be expecting. Okay, so it's you start with not necessarily knowing the piece, haven't learned it yet, and you gradually work out detail by detail with every single take to the point where you heard by the end of the practice session for the third and fourth movement, it was starting to sound really solid. Now the following day, I would do the same procedure except for make 9 beat increments, and I will do that over and over and over again to the point where it's ready to perform, where I can go on stage and I know that every single time I'm going to be playing this is going to be rock solid. I'm going to deliver. I'm going to be comfortable, and I know all the speeds and etc. So I'm probably going to do another stream following week on the remainder of the variations. I know it's taking a little bit of time, but again, I wanted to give you a good idea of how I approach the practice session. So this is not to the point where you get to see skipped versions of, oh, just practice slow, then go fast when somebody has learned the piece. I haven't, this piece, I'm not 100%, it's not prepared yet. It's I've been practicing this for 3 days, and this is the daily approach I would take. Okay, let's go to questions and answers. I'll answer some of your questions from the chat. So give me a moment. Also, something worth mentioning, all the music, the Carnival of Venice, these parts are public domain, so you can download them on IMSLP, or you can go to my Patreon page and find all these arranged in bass clef and treble clef with a piano part for download as well. So go check it out. But that being said, let's go to some questions. Okay. 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 It says unrelated question: how to play a concert B1 on a non-compensating instrument. B1, isn't that I'm wondering which octave are we talking about. If we're talking about the pedal octave, normally you need 4th valve for all of those. So how do you play it? Well, if you can lip it down that far, that would be one of the solutions. That being said, you'll probably have to wait up until you can get a compensating, well, or just any euphonium with the 4th valve, so you can go all the way to that 4 1 2 3 combination that low. But it is playable. You just need to make sure that the airstream is pretty slow and that you're being controlled. How do I read treble clef? It's very confusing. Well, that's what I was originally trained at. So, and again, use this opportunity. If you don't read bass clef or treble clef, you get an opportunity to see both clefs here. So use an opportunity to read an opposite clef and double check on the clef you're familiar with. That would be a good way to train these. What super energy drink are you actually drinking? And it's my all-time secret, the grapefruit flavored seltzer water. At what tempo in your slowed down practice do you add double tonguing? That's a very good question. I add it at any tempo as long as I know that I'm going to be double tonguing that passage eventually. So even if it's super slow, da, ga, da, ga, da. So in my case, it never goes that slow because at this point I can sight read faster normally. And but if I know that the goal is I'm going to be double tonguing that eventually, I'm going to be practicing double tongue exclusively there. So despite of how fast or slow that is. Gary is asking, hi Algorithms, what do you think of TCE embouchure? I'm not familiar. What is TCE embouchure? I'm not really familiar. If you could clarify that, I could have a look at it and maybe I could answer that. Do you have any tips for players with braces? Tricky one. I would say do your best. That's a bad tip. Do your best. My suggestion would be, look, there's going to be an additional surface between teeth and your gums. Okay. Now, in order to control, have an open and resonant sound, in order to have control in your flexibility and range, you need to have flat surface. Okay? So you're not going to be able to have a fully flat surface with braces. What you can still get better at, but I would recommend is making sure that you don't spend too much time on your register exercises. Just get good at what you can get good, and that is going to be your finger, your tonguing technique. It's going to be hard. I don't want to say impossible because I don't know that, but I would struggle to imagine it is possible to develop a flexible, good, beautiful, quality professional tone with braces. Just practice your fingers my apologies, relentlessly, your articulation, and at some point those braces will come off. You'll be able to start doing some strength building exercises and build your range up. Look, you need to work with what you have, and at that point, just make sure that you're really working on your fingers. Tony, has anyone noticed that Algirdas has become the exceptional euphonist since he stopped shaving? Well, now you found the key to my success. But the reason I stopped shaving is just because I use this opportunity normally, and this is a genuine answer. Normally, whenever I perform with River City Brass, you can have a beard, but there's no rules that say you have to have a nice clean shave or whatever. But it's you don't want to look untidy when you go to performances. You want to look nice and prepared. So always make sure I get a haircut and I have my beard trimmed. In this case, since I'm not going to be performing for a little while, up until everything opens up at least, bare minimum, I figured I might give it a go and try and grow my beard out so later on I can trim it and see how that looks. So I'm just using this as an opportunity. Some people look at this as an obstacle. I look at this as an opportunity. In this case, opportunity to grow my beard. And I think it substantially improved my playing abilities. So now you know the secret. Grow the beard. Okay, and by the way, shout out to Tony. I appreciate the support, my friend. I appreciate it. It's a loyal supporter of the channel. Okay. Oh, Griffin. Hello, Griffin. One of the patrons. First live stream I have seen. That's great. Glad you made it, my friend. Glad you joined to the live stream. Let me know about any of the questions you have. David is saying, by the way, shout out to David, another friend of mine. If you can master the last two variations, you're good for the whole piece. It's tough. This is exactly how I practice it and how my old mentor suggests it. Yep, that's the approach. Repetition, quality repetition. Do not just do any kinds of repetition. Okay. Haste makes waste. Tony, I agree with you. Soda is bad for your playing, my guy. I agree with you, but bear in mind this is sugar free. This is just a grapefruit seltzer. So I don't know whether that qualifies as a soda. That's a sparkling water. So I don't drink sugary drinks, but it is sparkling. I like sparkling water, but it's just grapefruit flavored. It has 0 calories, 0 sugars, anything. It doesn't even taste like grapefruit. It smells like grapefruit though, but I like it a lot. Francisco, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, is asking where can I find the sheet music. It's on patreon.com/Matonizz, or you can go download a version on imslp.com. Okay. Do you personally read in treble or bass clef? Good question. I did actually read from treble clef this time. It's just for some reason I'm just so used to reading Arban in treble that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Both clefs I'm fluent at. I just go whatever I have. I just picked Arban just because treble clef, you for sure know that you're getting the original parts. So. What microphones would you recommend for recording brass that isn't super expensive? It's a tricky one. This one is not necessarily expensive, and it's really good. It's AT2020. Now the problem with this one, and I'm not exactly sure what would you define as not super expensive. I think this one's around $100, but it requires phantom power, so you will have to buy an interface, which is going to be probably another $100, and that will you wanna invest a little bit of money on that, because that will determine the quality of the sound quite a bit. So. But this would probably, for brass, just because the amplitude of volume is so high, this is as low as I would get. And at the same time, it's a really quality mic. I really like this one. Hello from Brazil. Hello, Brazil. Okay, and I think it's going to be the last one. How do you play high notes? I've made so many videos on high notes. I don't think I can give you as detailed answer within the time frame of this live stream right here. I would recommend going to my educational video playlist and checking out all the high range educational videos that I made. I go into detail on what factors do go into playing high, and I'm sure that will benefit you tremendously. Okay, one last question, just because I'm seeing a pretty good one. How did you get to playing euphonium? I was looking. I was 7. I was looking for after school class activity, and the orchestra rehearsals were very close to where I lived, and I originally wanted to join the choir rather than the orchestra, but I guess my dad was not too thrilled about driving me all the way to different part of a city, so he recommended me to join the orchestra. And also he was late for the first meeting, so I was originally supposed to be a trumpet player, but they gave out all the trumpets, and I was left with an old German baritone horn. So it's a German style baritone that I originally started with, and it turned out pretty well. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching again. You can find all the music that I used for this stream at patreon.com/Matonizz, plus a bunch of other educational materials and etc. Hopefully you found this stream useful. Again, this is just my way of saying thank you to all my subscribers. I understand that some people might not find this necessarily as an entertainment video. It's not supposed to be. You get a glimpse. In my opinion, this is when I was growing up, this is what I was looking for. I always wondered, how do the elite practice players, do they ever miss notes? Because they seem to be all so perfect in performances. And I'm showing you, you've heard me, you've seen a bunch of performance videos, a bunch of live performances. Some of you have seen me play live, and you get to hear what standard I bring to my live performances. Here you get to see how I get to that standard. So again, for those who just tuned in, go back to the very beginning of the video, you'll notice that the quality level was very different to when I started by the time I was finishing those variations. This is how I normally approach it every single day, okay? Thank you so much to everyone who was watching this live stream. Again, don't forget to give this video a like, share, comment. I would highly appreciate that. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know what future pieces you'd like me to feature. It's hard because not all the pieces are public domain, so I try to get whatever I can. But that being said, hopefully you enjoyed this little session on Carnival of Venice. I'll probably do another stream next week touching on the remainder of the variations. If that's something you'd be interested, let me know in the comment section. And that being said, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you in another live stream on Saturday, which is going to be our live chat with my colleague Mike. We will be answering some more of your questions that you send me through emails, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Okay, have a great rest of the week, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and thank you very much for watching. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.
Open your eyes and you will see there's no pain inside of me. Free your mind and try to sleep. Dreams are far but they're so deep. Remember feelings that you knew. Don't forget them, they're so true. Can you tell me if it's real? Anger's here to stop your tears. Open your eyes and you will see there's no pain inside of me. Free your mind and try to sleep. Dreams are far but they're so deep. Outside and nothing's here. This is home, have no fear. Sounds of cries but no one hears. No one knows, no one cares. Empty streets and empty towns. Someone falls from up to down. There's no cloud.